Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about a recent perfume set that I really like and that I have been using a ton lately, especially in the summer months and in the lighter summery, springy days because they are just really bright, fresh fragrances. And the set that I'm talking about in particular is the Lam Sampler Set, which is here. I got this with a makeup purchase at Sephora. I had been in the store and I was sampling all of the Lam fragrances and I loved so many of them. And I don't think they had any rollerballs. So I was really excited when I saw this as a perk for getting makeup. So of course, I didn't need an excuse to get makeup, but it always helps when you have a sampler set of this excellent range as a perk. So I went ahead and got it. I love it. I have been using it so much. I can honestly say that there isn't one fragrance in this set that I don't love. And that is really crazy because generally with 10 fragrances that are in here, that high of a number, you're almost certain to have one that you don't really love. But of these, they are all reminiscent of the same, I guess, undertones, and that they're very light and not too heavy or abrasive, but they are all their own fragrance. And they are all just so lovely, and that sounds kind of counterintuitive because they're all unique, but they all have some lightness to them, which I think makes them wonderful and easy to love. So I'm only going to talk about 4 of my favorites from the range, but the actual whole sampler set is really great and I enjoy it very much. I'm just going to talk about the 4 that I like the most. You can actually get the gift set on the Lam website. The whole sampler set actually comes with the 8 ml of each fragrance, and that set is $95. So I lucked out definitely by getting this as a sampler set. It was totally free with one of my Sephora purchases, so I was totally stoked. But it looks like the sampler gift set on the Lam website is $95, and it has a larger little sprayer for all of your fragrances. I think it is well worth it, especially if you're a fragrance lover and you have way too many bottles and it's time for you to get roller balls and small versions of the fragrances that you love, because you could never ever use all of the fragrances that you own in a lifetime. So that's what I have been doing lately, and I will probably start doing a lot more of my roller balls and my smaller sprays, just because those are more practical, especially as someone who loves to try and use so many different things. Anyway, let's get into the actual fragrances that I love the most. Well, actually, let's talk about the fragrances that are in here. They're listed on the back. There are 10. The first is Silent Street, and they have their corresponding colors. So Silent Street is gray. The second is Looking Glass, which is more of a taupe. And then you have Hi-Fi, which is a kind of indigo blue color. Then you have Drunk on Youth, which is kind of a nice light pink. Afloat, which they say is brown, but I'm saying it's an orange instead. Rain Day, which is green. Something Wild, which is purple. Ellipsis and Blackout, which are 2 kind of greens. One, the Ellipsis, is a little lighter, and then 2 AM Kiss, which is like a lipstick red. I like how they have the fragrances colored. The actual sprays are not colored, but they're associated with the color, which I get. Once you smell them, you get it. Like for the 2 AM Kiss, for example, that's something that you would wear on like a nice date. That's actually one of my favorites, and I'll be getting into that, but they all make sense with their color, and it's interesting because sometimes we tend to go toward more maybe reds if we're going out on a date, or greens if it's in the springtime, or oranges for the more citrus, bright fragrances. So they really work, and I highly recommend that you go to Sephora and check them out. I believe they are fairly new to Sephora, and they're a lot of fun. I love them all. I really do. It's really crazy. So let's get into the ones that I like the most. The first one is Rain Day, and that is the green one here. I'm going to spray the 4 that I love and let you guys go and investigate the rest of them. So Rain Day is, per their website, described as floral/oriental, as an enchanting balance of tropical vetiver and citrusy neroli Tunisia creates a surprisingly fresh scent. This one reminds me of a men's fragrance, though I'd say that it is something anyone could wear, so it's more androgynous in that sense. But it's definitely something a little bit grassy on the undertones, grassy, kind of limey almost, but it reminds me of kind of like a very typical male fragrance. And it is a little bit more green. If you are into that particular type of thing, it is not harsh in the least. It is not too masculine. As I mentioned earlier, a woman could wear this. I think it would be lovely for the springtime. And the vetiver really comes out as bright and fresh, and it's really kind of eye-opening and refreshing. So that was one of my favorites. It kind of has a soft note as well, like a softness to all of the fragrances, which I think is like that lightness or softness, like roundedness that each of the fragrances has, while they aren't exactly the same, because you know how some fragrances in a line are so similar that it's like, what's the point of making all of these different fragrances if they're all just going to be offshoots of the other? But they are similar enough to where you know that they're in the same line, but they're each their own fragrance and have their own distinct scents. It's really crazy. You have to try to check it out and smell them, because you will definitely understand what I'm talking about once you put your nose to it. The next one that I really like is the 2 a.m. Kiss, as I mentioned earlier. This is the red color. This one is definitely more something like you would wear to a date, more oriental. This is salty wood and crystallized amber, and it is characterized as oriental. It's described as salty caramel wrapped in rich crystallized amber, irresistible and slightly intoxicating and absolutely addictive. I definitely agree, because I like this one the best. It reminds me of West Side, and it's better. It's better than West Side. Don't tell my husband that I think that. It is better. It is just a more loose understanding of West Side from Bond Number 9. It's a very oriental, very sweet kind of honey fragrance. And I actually like this one more. It is very similar to that one. And the oriental notes are lovely. It reminds me of the cross between all of those wonderful warm fragrances and that you would see in fall, and also West Side from Bond Number 9. To give you an example of what the notes are in West Side, let me pull up the notes so I can list them for you. Okay, so for the Bond Number 9 West Side, it's described as kind of a full body and melodious perfume with dark, light, and high-low, sweet, sharp, floral, and woody notes. It is definitely a mix, and it's the actual fragrance from Bond Number 9 is far more it fills your senses a lot more. This one is much softer. The Bond Number 9 West Side has rose, ylang ylang, peony, sandalwood, amber, vanilla, musk, and the 2 a.m. Kiss has a amber salty wood. So we have those similar notes within the two fragrances that make them similar. I do think that this one's better. The woodiness is really lovely. It's not that kind of dry, choking woodiness. It's just a very light, delicate, well-rounded, stunning fragrance. It's so good. I cannot get enough of that one. The next one that I really enjoy is Hi-Fi. I've used this one probably the most. I'd say because it's more wearable than some of the other ones. In my opinion, it's something that I would tend to go for on a day-to-day basis. Some of these others, like 2 AM Kiss, that's something that I'd wear maybe in the fall or for a date night. The green one, you have to be in a particular mood for that, at least I do. And so I typically don't go for those as much. Hi-Fi I liked because it's something that I would go for on a day-to-day basis. And that is the kind of like indigo purpley blue color. And this is described as notes of pink peony flirt with stylish French narcisse to create an unexpected velvety experience. I just got a whiff, it's great. Pink peony and French narcisse, floral, that's how it's described. Yeah, it's so good. It's very light, floral, feminine, not overwhelming, almost plasticky kind of white floral, and it's very well rounded, very light and delicate. The peony is definitely the star of the show here, and I really like it. It is that more wearable fragrance, especially if you're next to a lot of people at work. Similar to a lot of other white florals, it can get like a little plasticky if you have too much. But it is stunning just with one spray. It's just great sillage as well. And the last one is Afloat, which is the orange one. Yes, the taupey one, but the orange one here. This one is another floral. I tend to like florals, though a little bit fresher florals. So those tended to be my favorites. This is described as a modern white mimosa, which evokes the feeling of sunshine on a hint of darker orris. And the notes are white mimosa and orris, and it is described as generally floral. This is so nice. It is a lot lighter. It doesn't have quite a distinct note like the others, I would say, do. It is more just kind of like a soft citrusy, like lightly citrusy floral fragrance. This isn't that white floral, this is more of like that soft floral. The white mimosa, let's see what kind, if this has a flower. It looks like the white mimosa is a type of flower. An interesting looking flower. It looks like a little spiky ball there. And I've never actually smelled them in person, but it is very soft and light and almost kind of clean as compared to the other fragrance that was much more white floral, which I think all of us can relate to and understand and recognize. This one is a little bit more light and fresh and youthful, I'd say. White floral has a tendency to be more mature, especially because that was very popular on our mothers and grandmothers. So that I kind of get that feeling from white florals. This one is more of a youthful kind of new floral that's just bright and fresh, and it's like clean wonderfulness. So out of all of them, those were my 4 favorites. I think it is a fantastic line. I haven't run into anything that I did not like, and I would highly recommend you putting your nose to it. I am going to wear the Hi-Fi fragrance today because I just love that one the most, and the Pink Peony is lovely. It is not too harsh, and I really like it a lot. The actual fragrances tend to go from 95 to about 175 depending on the size. The 5.9 ounce is probably on the lower end of the $95, and Sephora has this line. Totally go check it out. It's perfect for this season right now, and they are also lovely. I'm gonna have to have one of you guys explain to me how exactly they're similar but all different, because I'm having a hard time explaining how they are exactly that. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I am so excited to be back, and I will talk to you guys and see you so soon. Bye.